Welcome to the Rana Show. I'm your host, Rania, and each week we have a story to share with you, whether it's mine or our guests. Tune in as we discuss trauma, manifestation, and everything in between. Today's episode is about ask and you shall receive. When you ask with intention from the current path you are on to where you want to be, in the moment it may seem like everything is falling apart, but really, it's just creating space for what you want to come through. If I hadn't moved to Massachusetts for 2 years, I would not have been an extra in the movie Central Intelligence with Kevin Hart and The Rock. If I hadn't moved back to New York, I wouldn't have been an extra in the movie Paterno with Al Pacino. If I hadn't picked up the mic more than once and hit record, I wouldn't be 11 weeks in on The Rania Show. If I hadn't taken an old manager's suggestion to interview for a company, I wouldn't have met someone who showed me that you can be a great boss and a kind boss. So there are moments in our lives that feel horrendous in that instant, but what comes after feels empowering. If I hadn't listened to my old manager's suggestion, then I would have stayed at a job that I did not like and didn't feel like I was living in my purpose. I didn't feel like I was appreciated, or I can't say that I didn't feel like I was making a difference, because I do feel like I was making a difference in the sense of like, yeah, it wasn't exactly how I wanted to make a difference, but I was still making a difference by showing up and giving 110% with each phone call, um, with each customer that came in face to face. But it just felt like it wasn't what I wanted anymore. Like, I wanted a challenge. I just felt like I had reached my cap, in a sense, of like, what more can I learn? What more can I do um, to expand on this experience? So, and it felt draining and suffocating to the point where I didn't want to do it anymore. And my old manager was like, "Oh, why don't you interview for this company?" Because somebody had reached out to her looking for someone. And I took her advice for it. And I did. And even though that company also felt repetitive, like I was repeating the same pattern in a sense and just having somewhat the same experience, my experience was different because I had a boss that was great at what he did and was very um, open to suggestions and was also very kind. And it made working there bearable, I should say, just because of having that. So, moment was horrendous at the old company, but it got better at the new company because I took an action step and took somebody's suggestion. So, yeah, that's what I mean by that. And then, like, for example, last week, Laurian shared that it took an airport shooting for her to ask the universe for a different business model because she was getting burnt out. And now she helps others speak with confidence and be on stage and have those experiences of sharing what they want to share. And because they feel so confident sharing it, people are more attentive and they're listening and hearing what the speaker has to say. And then, like, another example would be Um, because I had to start working and like, adulting happened. I wasn't able to really be on set anymore or take on extra work or really pursue what I wanted with acting. And I stopped doing it for a while because I felt like I couldn't do it anymore because I had bills to pay and all these things and all these beliefs that I held on to that kept me from pursuing it and continuing with it. And then a couple of years ago, they were offering an acting class at the library. And I was like, you know what? I really miss acting. It's been so long since I've done it. And I always used to feel so great and like relaxed and really enjoy it. So I signed up. And because I signed up and I did it, I was given the opportunity to write my own monologues, which I did. And I got to perform them in front of complete strangers at the showcase and got a lot of positive feedback. And it just like reignited that love for me of acting and writing again and reminded me of, for me, it was like a sacred space for me to just be me and like share those thoughts and tell stories through acting and writing. And then you have those moments of desperation when you're constantly thinking about what you want and you're trying to control the outcome of how to receive it. When you start becoming obsessed with what you want, and I'm not talking about a healthy obsession, I'm talking about the controlling obsession, the expectation of, well, this should have happened already. Why hasn't it happened? But what you have done, what have you done today to get one step closer towards what you want? And then sometimes we obsess over it so much that we forget why we even want it in the first place. Other times it's because of what we were going through at that time. We set an intention based on what we were feeling in that moment. But the feeling has passed, and now we are in Alaska because we set the intention to get away from everyone we knew in a moment of anger or resentment. So we became fixated on the idea of Alaska because we somehow thought it would fix all of our problems, but our problems were lingering in the shadows, never far behind. So I say that for you to be mindful with what you want and why you want it. For me, just to give you an example, another example, I was going through a tough time in New York and wanted to escape my problems. So I decided to move to Massachusetts for a fresh start. And I think you know where this is going. So I thought, you know, I didn't know anybody in Massachusetts. Um, Everything that I was dealing with in New York surely will not follow me to Massachusetts. So I thought. And nope, those same problems showed up again, but in different faces and places. And somehow they got even worse. So, my question to you is, what are you currently running from? What do you currently want to run towards and why? And to just be mindful and intentional of it because we tend to sometimes like being in a state of disappointment or being in a state of hurt or vulnerability, we think we want something and then we receive it and we don't want it. We're like, oh my God, why did I want this? What was I thinking when I asked for this? And that's okay because when you receive it, you can actually sit back and ask yourself, why did I want this? Where was I coming from when I asked for this? Okay, I no longer want it. What do I want now? And then go for it. Take small action steps to shift. If you did something yesterday, do it a little differently tomorrow to create a new pathway. Because if you're constantly repeating the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different outcome, you already know what the outcome is. It's not changing because time and time again, you continue to do the same thing over and over again, and the outcome hasn't changed. So, what can you do differently now to create a different outcome? It takes one step in a different direction than what you are used to set an intention and ask yourself, how would the boss version of me show up? How would the award winning and successful actress that I am show up? What am I looking to create stepping into this version of me? Sit with that. Ask yourself those questions and sit with them and really get intentional and mindful for what it is that you want. What do you want to create? What ripple effect do you want it to have on your world and the world around you? Thank you for tuning in for another episode of The Rania Show. I hope you have a wonderful week. Until next time, bye.